Hello and welcome back to myjewelrybench.com, where today we're going to do part 2 of our designing a wedding set, and we're going to work on the wedding band for this engagement ring that we did in part 1. If you haven't watched part 1, I'll put a link to it in the upper right corner. You can go look at that. And if you are a Patreon supporter, you can download these STL files for your use, and they are available on Patreon to anyone who is a supporter. Thanks for watching, guys. Let's get started with part 2. So guys, I'm going to pick up where we left off on part 1 of our engagement ring, and what we're going to do now is create a new wedding band for this that conforms to the circumference of the ring. And to do that, we have to do a couple of things. I'm going to turn off the plane here. To do that, we have to do a couple of things. We have two options. We can take our gem path, which is right here, and denoted by this. If I hit Shift D and press enter, I can duplicate that and bring that out a little bit, and then it's not parented to anything. It is exactly what we want. If you don't have that, there's another way to get that, and I'm just going to Control Z through that. So what we would do is we would select our engagement ring, we'd go into edit mode, and to come up with the parameter or the perimeter of the ring, we are going to use the Control R to add in a loop cut. And we're just going to put our mouse somewhere over the side of the engagement ring, press Control R, and you can see that adds in a loop cut. So I'm going to press the left mouse button twice, twice, and now we have a loop cut through our ring. Now, this poses a couple little issues that we're going to have with this, but it's no big deal. We're still parented to the other ring. You can see with this little dot, but we can solve that problem in a moment. What I want to do now is separate this from the ring. So I'm going to hit P and then separate selection. And now we've separated that piece from our ring. I'm going to go into object mode by pressing the tab key again. And I'm going to select the loop cut that we just made. I'm going to bring that out a little bit using the Y arrow and just move that out. And you can see that we're still parented with this little dot. If you don't have that dot, you're in good shape. If you do have that dot, press Alt P and then clear and keep transformation. Now we have a match of our original curve of our ring, but you can see it's not quite what we want. We want the ring to come along the side here and then go along this side. To do that, what we're going to do is very simple. I'm going to go into side view, and I'm going to press the 1 key and then the 9 key on the keyboard. Let me turn on screencast keys, and there we go. So now I'm looking at that loop that we just added, and what I want to do is go into edit mode. So I'm going to go into edit mode. I'm going to select vertices. So you see all the little dots there. I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and with my cursor right about here, I'm going to select these vertices. So I've got these all highlighted, which is pretty good. Before I do that, actually what I want to do is actually select these last two down here, and I'm going to press the F key to merge those. Okay, so got those merged up pretty good, and now I'm just going to select this half of that model, and I'm going to press X and then delete vertices. Okay, so now I've got half of the shape that we want for our wedding band. Now we need to mirror this over to make a mirror image on the opposite side. This is very, very simple to do. What we're going to do is select all. I'm going to press Control A and apply all transformations. Okay, so I'm liking that so far. And now I'm going to go hit the mirror modifier. And now you can see we have a mirror image of our ring. The only problem is we've got a little opening down here. We've got to fix that. Okay, so that's just about ready to be fixed. I'm going to apply this mirror modifier. So now I've got this mesh image of a line, and we want to do the next step, which is to close up this gap at the bottom. I'm going to hit the tab key to go into edit mode. I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to select these two vertices, and I'm going to hit the F key. So now that they are joined, and that's exactly what we want. You notice there's one missing vertex here, but it's no big deal. It's not going to make much of a difference on our wedding band. Okay, so you can see that the circumference of our wedding band loop, or the loop that we're going to use to make our wedding band, is a little offset from the cursor. To fix this, what we're going to do is in object mode, right click, set origin to geometry. So I'm going to do that, and it puts the center of this mass right in the middle, and then I'm going to just move that over a little bit, right like so. And now I can start giving this the next step, which is to convert it to a curve. So let's go find it. So here's our wedding band shape, and you can see it's got a little triangle there, which indicates it's a mesh. And what we want to do is convert this to a curve. So with that selected, this wedding band shape, we're going to come over to Object. We're going to come down to Convert, and we are going to convert this to a curve from a text or mesh. So that's done now, and if we go back to this side here, you can see it's got that little curve icon next to it, which indicates this is a curve object. Okay, I'm going to do one quick thing here just to make life easier. I'm going to rotate this RZ 180, and I'm going to move this to the other side, just like so. And that gives me the ultimate shape of our ring. So if I look at this from the front view, you can see it just about mirrors our shape perfectly, and then I can just start making my wedding band to match this. So here's what we're going to do in front view. So I'm looking at the curvature of our wedding band. I am going to come over to my curve tools, and I am going to start giving this an extrusion. And when you see the extrusion, you can see I can kind of match the dimensions of my engagement ring. So I want to be right about there, and I'm just going to lower this down just a little bit, just about like so. Okay, with that done, I've got the thickness of the band, and now we've got to give this some depth. So just like we did with the engagement ring, I'm going to come over to the modifiers tool. I'm going to add in a solidify modifier, and now I can start increasing the thickness of this wedding band, and I'm going to grab that and increase it to the plus side, and let's make this 2.1 millimeters. That's too thick. Let's make this 1.9 millimeters. That's a little better. I like the way that looks. It just about matches perfectly to our engagement ring, and I can just test this by moving it in and just see if there's any interference, which there is a little bit, but we can fix that in post-processing. And if you want to, you could actually adjust this a little bit by hitting S and then Y. So S, Y, and then you can see I can change this a little bit just to conform a little bit better to the engagement ring. Not too bad. I like the way that looks. Again, I can finish that in post-casting if I have to. It's not a big deal. Now you can go to the negative side of the thickness and bring that over like so, but you'll get some overlapping faces in your model, and you can see those overlapping faces right here. This is why I tend to go to the plus side and just do it like this. So that's one way to do it. If you didn't want to use the solidify modifier, we could convert this to a mesh and also just extrude this to the left or right, and that would be done like this. We take this model, and we don't have any modifiers to it, but we want to convert this over to a mesh. So if I do that, I go into edit mode, hit all, so that everything is selected, and now I can hit extrude and then Y, and then I can bring that over just like so to make that simple design like that. And I think I'll do that on this particular model. So you can see we're just about perfect on the shape of our ring. So I'm just going to bring it in a little bit more, and that looks pretty good to me. I'm going to hit Tab to go back into object mode, and there is our wedding band, and it is conformed to fit to pretty much the side of the ring. So there's a few more things we need to do. Of course, we want to add in diamonds to this. So I'm going to move this out just like so and go back into edit mode. And now we're going to do a select all, and then one more time press the A key, and then let's see, A, and deselect everything. And now I want to add in another path for the diamonds that we want to add to the wedding band. Again, we're going to use the Control R key, so put your cursor over the top and press Control R, and then you will get a line or a loop cut through the middle of the band. Press the left mouse button twice, once, twice, okay, and then press P to separate the selection. We're going to do the exact same thing that we did to make this band. I'm going to go back into object mode by pressing the Tab key. We'll select this path that we just created, which is a mesh, and I'm going to come over here and we're going to say wedding band diamond path. So we've given that a name, and now I can start adding in the diamonds just like we did with the engagement ring. And to do this, I'm just going to select and hold the shift key down, select the ring. I'm just going to move this over just a little bit so that we're kind of geared right up against the engagement ring. I'm going to select that path again just to make sure I can select it. I'm going to size this up just a shade, so S, and then size it up just a little bit so it's sitting above the ring, like so. And now we are going to add in our diamonds to this whole band. Now, it's very similar to what we did here with the original ring, but we're going to do a couple of things differently, so pay attention. I'm going to go back into Jewel Craft, and we're going to go in and add a stone, and we're going to make this 1.5 millimeters, just like we did with the engagement ring. Okay, so we've added our diamond. The next thing we need to do is make sure that this diamond path is converted to a curve. So let's select it. Let's go to Object, down to Convert to a curve from a mesh. And now you can see the wedding band diamond path is a curve object. So I'm going to select my diamond again, hold the shift key, select the wedding band diamond path. You might have to zoom in a little bit just to make sure that you get that, and it's a little tricky. There we go. So I've got both of them selected, and now I can go to the scatter tool in Jewel Craft and we can scatter those along. I want to tilt these just ever so slightly so they're straight up and down. And now we want to add in the appropriate number of diamonds and where the locations are. So we're going to select end location and move that somewhere along the line. Let's say we want, I'm going to have to grab the start location, grab that, put that right over here. And then we'll move the end location all the way around. I'm going to zoom in here. And you can see what we want to do is basically get these diamonds about the same distance as the engagement ring diamonds are. So I'm going to come in from the side view, look at the other side, pressing the 9 key. These diamonds are almost at the right location, so I'm just going to move that up right about there because we want these to be about parallel. Let's get in a little closer, right about like so, and then go back to the other side. And I'm going to add in some diamonds until I get where I want, and move that right about there to the other location. And that looks pretty good, except I'm a little offset on the middle. I have 13 diamonds and they're not quite in the right location. So I'm going to move the end point over until I get that diamond right in the middle, right about like so. And now I've got my diamonds placed along this archway on the wedding band, and it looks like I'm in good location. So now it's time to add in the prongs to our wedding band. So let's start doing that. Now you can go in and turn off your engagement ring and turn those off if you want. I'm going to work with those on the screen, and now I'm going to start adding in prongs. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add in prongs for all the diamonds, and we're going to add in 2. I'm not going to select the center diamond here. I'm just going to keep the shift key held down and select all the other diamonds. And I like the way that looks. And now we'll come over to the Jewel Craft Prongs tool. We'll select 2 prongs. I'm going to make these a little wider. I'm going to go to 0.6. 0.6. And you can type in that value if you want. And then I'm going to use the position tool to rotate these where I'd like them. I think I want them right about here. And maybe I'll bring that up just a little bit so I can rotate those and give them a little straighter, but not too straight. Something about like so. Okay, so I've got those done. Again, like we did on the engagement ring, I'm going to select this last diamond here. We're going to add in a prong, just one, so select the number here on the Jewel Craft tool and bring that up to 0.6, and that's where it is. And then I can rotate that one to the other side of the diamond, just like so. And we're going to do the same thing to this diamond. Select that diamond, hit the prongs tool, select one prong, make sure that's 0.6, and then rotate that to position. So right about like so. And looks like it needs to be a little bit bigger. I'm going to bring that up just a little bit. Okay, so I've got that done. The next step is to work on this diamond here. You can see we've got one prong here holding it in, another prong over here, so we need at least a third prong on the other side. With that one selected, I'm going to hit prong. I'm going to add in one prong, bring that up to 6, and start rotating that to about here. That looks pretty good. And it's probably not perfect to get the one over on the other side, so I'm going to add in, I'm going to move this in just a little bit, just about like so. Actually, let's cancel that one prong. Let's delete that. X to delete it. I'm going to move this in a little bit, right about like so. Okay. And that one, I'm going to rotate RZ, just rotate that so it's off. Okay. So now I need a prong here, I need a prong here, and I need one prong right under the diamond right here. So I'm going to select this, and we're going to do 2 more prongs on the sides and then one prong over there, but we're going to do this in 3 steps. So I'm going to add in one prong at a time, and we will select that here. And I add in, actually we're going to leave this at 0.5, and I'm going to rotate that to be right there. Okay, so once you've got that there, I want to move that a little closer. So let's move that in intersection. I'm going to move that into the diamond just a little bit. That looks good. And now I can add in my other 2 prongs. So I'm going to select the diamond again, hit prong, we'll go to 1. I'm going to bring that up to 0.6, and then I will rotate that around to here. And then we're going to do that one more time, add prongs. I'll drop that down to 1 and then rotate that over here just like so, and then 0.6. Now I've got that completely done. It's time to add these prongs to our model, just like we did with the engagement ring. So I'm going to select the prongs. I'm going to hold the shift key down, and I'm going to select them one at a time, just so I'm selecting the prongs and getting the prongs done. Keep the shift key held down. Remember, only select your prongs. And then the last thing you're going to do is select the ring. With that done, go to your Boolean tool, which for me is under Edit, Boolean, and I'm going to unionize those. And now all the prongs have been added to my wedding band. Now that that's done, we can go through and use the cutter tool. So I'm going to select each of the diamonds one at a time using the shift key while holding down the shift. I can select each diamond. And remember, if you make a mistake, you can always Control Z out of it. So all the diamonds are selected, and we'll go to Jewel Craft and we will use the cutter tool. So I've got the cutters all done through the ring, and now I can select each of the cutters. So I'll select 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. The last one I'm going to select is the ring, and then I'm going to go back to the Edit tab and use Difference. Now it should remove all of the holes for our diamonds. And that, my friends, is how we design this wedding band that matches engagement ring. So guys, now I'm going to just take this over and I'm going to grab this arch here. I'm going to hold the shift key down. I'm going to grab my ring and I'm going to move both of those objects over so that we've got the diamonds and the wedding band just with a little bit of separation from our ring. And I'm going to go give this a texture and render this out. So I will add in a gold texture there. Okay guys, so that was it for part 2. I wanted to show you that whole series on how to do this. This is the final rendering in Blender. So I used the Blender rendering tool, added some texture, and did these 2 renders. Actually I did a few renders. And then I went ahead and 3D printed these. And I'd used the frozen castable waxy resin, which can be cast pretty easily. I hope you like this. You'll notice that you'll probably have to use a little bit of fine sandpaper just to touch these up. I did these at a 0.05 millimeter layer height, so I could have got a little better detail had I used a tighter layer height on these. Hey, I want to thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber, please consider subscribing to my channel, as it does help my channel grow. And if you're not a Patreon supporter, check it out, because you can get Blender gems for free, as well as all these 3D models that I will be putting on Patreon for all my supporters. Thanks for watching, and take care, guys.